Think about all the other presenters and the information that they provided for you. I want you to write this down. Knowledge is the new currency.
Knowledge is the new currency.
Yeah, knowledge is the new currency. See, most people don't know because we have an entertainment-driven culture. This is a brand new day. And I want to congratulate you for showing up. See, it's easy in an entertainment-driven culture for people to come out for things that can alleviate stress and distract them from focusing on their lives. But for you to carve out time in your day to be exposed to information that can transform your life, that's major, especially now, because there's so many distractions. And the gap between the haves and the have-nots, it's going to happen so rapidly, and it's going to be so dramatic, there will be no catching up. How many of you know there's no such thing as job security? Raise your hands, please.
Amen.
According to the Department of Labor, over 20,000 people are losing their jobs every day, and that number is growing. That's real. They told my sister, worked for a major bank for 22 years. I remember she was bringing work home. She loved it. They told her, your department has been eliminated, and we replaced you, and you are required to train the person that's going to take your place. And we're going to give her a test to make sure that you did a good job. And if you don't do a good job, you won't get your severance pay. That's not right. That's like going through a divorce from someone and they tell you, look, this is your replacement and you better do a good job so they don't make the same mistakes you made. Why find you? So I want you to shake someone's hand on your right and left, look them in the eyes and say, you have something special. You have greatness in you. Do that right now.
You have something special. You have greatness in you. You have greatness in you.
You have something special. You have greatness in you. I only attract millionaires or millionaires in training. Give yourselves a round of applause. Come on, bring it in and level up. As I look at my life and I'm reflecting and I'm constantly asked, how did you get here? Given my circumstances, born in an abandoned building on a floor in Liberty City with a twin brother, being adopted, being labeled educable mentally retarded, and put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade, failing again in the 8th grade. No college training whatsoever. And the reason that you stayed, the reason that you're still here now, because in your heart of hearts, you know what I've done, you can do and even more. The reason that you're here, because we're cut from the same cloth, we're branches of the same tree. I come to feel that there are things don't just happen, they happen just. And I know that what I'm going to do is confirm and to validate that which is already in you. If what I believe was not already in you, if what I believe, if you didn't know in your heart of hearts, you wouldn't be here. You'd be gone. So I want you to think about your goals. What is it you want to achieve? Some major goal that's important to you. I want you to think about it. And as you think about it, let us say together, with power, feeling, and conviction, it's possible.
It's possible.
Say it again like you mean it. It's possible.
It's possible.
See, that's going to be the major thing that the biggest hurdle for you to overcome. I didn't do what I'm doing now because I was suffering from possibility blindness for 14 years. I didn't think it was possible for me to earn more money in 1 hour than 90% of the American public earn working for a whole year. And because I didn't believe it was possible, I didn't even attempt. And there were some things that I didn't know. And what I discovered, because I've been reflecting on this journey, and I had an experience, a jarring experience, just a few weeks ago. My oldest son, a year and a half ago, he had a stroke. And he was being fed with a tube through his stomach. He dropped from 265 pounds down to 63 pounds. He was at death's door. And my youngest son, he's been suffering with bipolar and was trying to medicate himself, living in California with legal marijuana and blunts. Y'all know about that, huh? You know, God has a sense of humor. I'm a 21-year cancer conqueror. Yes, thank you. Because of God's grace and mercy, and I was going through some excruciating pain for a period of time, dealing with sciatica pain and cancer pain. I had to speak from a wheelchair. And somebody suggested, hey, you need some marijuana. That'll help you with your pain. So now, mind you, my son, who I said, you don't need to be smoking marijuana to calm yourself to deal with this bipolar. I had to call John Wesley and say, can you hook your daddy up? This is real, I'll tell you the truth. You can't make this stuff up. Now mind you, I don't smoke or drink, never did, right? He comes over and brings me some marijuana cookies. And he says, Daddy, don't eat all of them. I have a sweet tooth. So he left me around 6 of them, and I ate 6 of them. So they came to get me to speak, and they came to the room and said, Daddy, it's time for you to go speak. And I said, you gotta be hungry. I said, where the cookies? I ate them. Oh my God. So they were trying to get me dressed. I said, you know what? I said, this ain't happening today. They don't leave me with the cookies anymore. Oh my God, boy, that's a good feeling. I'm telling you. This thing called life. But I allowed myself, when I saw my oldest son, I became stressed. You know, they said cancer feeds off sugar, but it thrives off stress. And I had a reoccurrence. And they suggested a procedure. How many of you saw when I gave the presentation, I was in the hospital? Any of y'all saw that? If you haven't seen that, Google that. So they told me, I looked in the mirror and they had this cross on each side of my esophagus. I said, what is this here for? Well, you might lose your voice. Excuse me? Yes, cancer metastasized to 7 areas. I said, well, that's a good thing. He said, why? I said, 7 is my lucky number. They thought I was crazy. So we're going to go in and you could lose your voice. Well, when they left the room, I got my phone out. I said, you know what? This might be my last speech tonight, so I'm gonna give it tonight. I talked for over an hour and a half. Medical instruments going off, I'm in my gown, they coming in, giving me shots and everything. And fortunately, I came through that because of God's grace and mercy. I'm so grateful. But I want to share with you something that, as I reflect on my life, and I'm in this place where the Russian author Leo Tolstoy, he said, as I face inevitable death, what is the purpose and meaning of my life? I will not be undone or destroyed when I'm gone. I want you to think about some personal goal that you want to achieve, something that's important to you. My first personal goal was to buy my mother a home. Being adopted, one of 7 children that she adopted, I I'm on this stage because of two women. One gave me life, the other one gave me love. God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. I feel like Abraham Lincoln, who said, all that I am and all that ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. I used to have a talk show years ago, and I would always end it by saying, this has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. And so this is
I
Mama.
finally got to see
Isn't
her.
she beautiful? That's Mama. That's Wesley and I.
Oh my God.
And she got us when we were 6 weeks of age. She never had any children herself, but she adopted 7 children altogether. And which one am I on, your right or left? Which one? I'm the cute one. Which one? I'm on your left, And so Mama worked on Miami Beach, a wealthy family. She cooked for them, and we ate the food left over from the families that she cooked for. My mother could bake too. My mother could bake a sweet potato pie so good, you couldn't eat it with your shoes on. You had to take your shoes off so you could wiggle your toes, Maurice, all right? And she kept her children, and we wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that she kept. Now, I want to share this with you. How many of you are entrepreneurs? Raise your hands, please.
Yes, I am.
How many of you are speakers? Raise your hands, please.
Yes, I am.
How many of you love to learn how you can earn money speaking? Raise your hands, please.
Yes, I am.
Very good. Well, now, so here's something I want you to just park right here and share with me. That between the ages of 0 and 5, on the most exhaustive study ever done on self-esteem by Martin Seligman from the University of Minnesota, we formulate a word in our heart. That word is yes or it's no. Based upon the conversations you hear, the things you see, the things that you experience, all of those things, they create in you between 0 and 5 permanent personality behaviors. You determine during that time what's available and what's not available. And so as you look at yourself, look at your goals, here's what I've come to learn, to know, that what you see is not really what you see. What you see is what you believe. And based upon your level of awareness, that determines how impactful the kind of life that you lead. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is that many times, like my son, a specialist came in his room and he said, listen, young man, the cells between your esophagus and brain have not been activated in a year and a half. You will never live a normal life. You will always have a tube in your stomach to be fed. So get used to it. This is your new normal. At the time the doctor said this, 2 people on the team, they looked at each other in shock. And when the doctor left the room and canceled another exam that my son was supposed to have, my son said, excuse me, ma'am, can you come back here for just a moment? The 2 of you looked at each other when he said, I'll never be able to eat again. Why did you look at each other like that? And she looked around to see if the doctor was still there, and one of the clinicians said, if you see everything like a hammer, everything looks like a nail. He has no right to tell you that. You're 53. You're not in your 70s or 80s. He can't say because the cells have not been activated for over a year and a half that you never swallow again. She said, come to my clinic, and if I can't help you, you owe me nothing. My son, who couldn't swallow his own saliva, went to the clinic. First visit, he swallowed his saliva. The next visit, he swallowed water and soup.
Amen.
Remember I said, what you see is what you believe. Now that doctor who came in, that was his belief. But this lady said no. And then 3 weeks later, he was chewing and swallowing food, and now the tube has been removed. It's been 2 weeks now. So we're taught judge not according to appearances. So if anybody based upon, and let's go back to the slide, based upon my experience, I remember doing a tour with President Trump, and it was called Millionaires in Training, and he was lamenting about the fact that his father only gave him $14 million for his dream. How many of you, $14 million would have been your dream? All right. My mama gave us 2 pieces of sugar cane, all right? But I'm going to share with you what I did with this. Now, I started off with a story about my mother. How many of you have someone in your life that you love, someone in your life that you admire, and they had an influence on your life? Raise your hands, please. Very good. I just want you to park right there and think about this. And the reason that I'm sharing this, because my goal is to train messengers of hope, that when there's hope in the future, that gives you power in the present. Suicide among young people has increased over 300%. And if you're an entrepreneur, guess what? You are the storyteller for your business. If you're building a multi-level marketing organization, your ability to tell the story about yourself, about the product, about the company is very important, just like the young man that just left the stage. So your ability to do that is very important. So in order to make it today, and there are several things that's important, but one is your mindset. And what has kept me here, I read a lot of things that's designed to overpower the conversation that's already in my head about cancer. That's why I'm still here. That I have to overpower that. That you have to overpower the conversations that you've heard and things you've seen. And it's an ongoing process. And so your mindset, training yourself to develop a sense of resolve. I deal with pain every day, from cancer and from sciatica. But I don't allow that to stop me. And oddly enough, when I'm speaking, it doesn't affect me. Now, when I get off stage, and by the time I get back to the hotel, that pain say, I hope you got another speech. So we gonna make you pee tonight. Oh, behave, whatever. I talk to myself. I tickle myself. I really do. I enjoy myself. I can't believe I get paid to do this. Okay, I'm gonna be good. Listen to me. The reason you stayed here to see me, because you're looking at your future right now. Trust me on this one, up in here, up in here. So in the Trump family, they would argue about who took the limousine or the private plane. In my house, we'd be arguing about who ate the last chicken wing. And so that skews what you think is possible. Am I making sense? So I want you to write this down. If you haven't done this already, go online and find Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome. I'm speaking to 80,000 people. I want you to watch that every day for 90 days. Here's another one. It's possible. Watch that. Here's another one. You deserve. Watch that. Why? It will go past the conscious mind to the subconscious mind. When I did those recordings, I was sleeping on the floor of the Penobscot building in Detroit and bathing in the sink down the hall. When you have a goal and dream, trust me on this, you're gonna have some tough times. And you know, there was a guy named Dimples had a song years ago called If It Ain't One Thing, It's Another. And what I found when I came into the motivational industry is 2 things. One, they provided a lot of information. If information can change people, everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy. Okay? No, it's not that simple. The next thing is, I talk about the fact that it's hard. How many of you know it's hard? Raise your hands, please. Amen. Changing your life. Picking up the pieces and starting all over again. It's hard when you don't have the money and the resources. the guys who did an infomercial for Tony Robbins. I sent them my promo video, and they said, oh, you got an inspiring story. Oh, and by the way, you're black. So I wrote him and said, well, I never would have known that if you hadn't told me. They said, we don't think a black guy would be appealing to the general American public. And I learned something from this. Mike Williams, and he wrote the book called, get this book, The Road to Your Best Stuff. Get it off Amazon. I wrote the foreword for it. The Road to Your Best Stuff. He said, Brownie, he said, if you got somebody that's going to spend millions of dollars for an infomercial on you like Tony Robbins, good, that will help. But if you don't do it, Brownie, what is your goal? I said, I want to change lives. He said, find a way to win. Ladies and gentlemen, even if you don't have all the resources and the things that you want or the things that you think you need in order to become successful, to pursue your dream, don't give up. Find a way to win. Write this down. Keep your commitment to your commitment. Why? Because something's going to happen. Something's going to give. I'm telling you what I know. If anybody told me, given my circumstances, my birth parents stood up and said, hello, son, I would not know either one, that as a result of my speaking internationally, I would earn $223,000, $25,000 in an hour? I don't say that to impress you, but to impress upon you that you stayed here to hear me. You know why? Because I'm confirming what's in you already. And I'm saying to you, acknowledge that part of yourself. You got greatness in you. You can do more than you can ever begin to imagine. If I had listened to my friends, if I had judged myself based upon sleeping in my office, and I remember one night Larry DeAngie and I, the janitorial staff came early. We hid in a closet. Guy, it must have been a new guy. He opened up the closet door. There Larry and I in our underwear. And he looked and he's shocked. I said, it's not what you think, big boy. He cracked up. I said, man, please don't tell all this. Would you please don't tell all this, all right? He said, okay, I won't tell. You know? But we fell on some tough times. The good times you put in your pocket. The tough times you put it in your heart. And I remember looking out the window, saying, Larry, yeah, man, one day, man, people will be looking at our window, saying, that's a successful business there. One day, man, we're gonna be very successful. We're gonna be known all over the country and around the world. He said, yes, we will. And here's something that's very important. Not only your mindset, but write this down. Create collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. Collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. Larry DeAngie and Boo, they saw what I saw, and they believed what I believed. You want to be in alignment with people that's going in the direction of where you're going. You can't make it by yourself. 72% of corporations are striking strategic mergers and partnerships. You can go at some Burger Kings and get pizza. Or you can go into a Walgreens and buy clothes at a drugstore. Why? Because people are diversifying. And so you need to have relationships with people that you can learn from, that you can grow from mentally and emotionally and spiritually and intellectually and business-wise. Byron Nelson over there, raise your hand, Byron. That's one of my business partners. Give him a round of applause. And so because of our partnership, we enhance and we enrich each other. Write this down. Upgrade your relationships.
Upgrade your relationships.
Dr. Dennis Kimbrough is right. If you're the smartest one in your group, you need to get a new group.
Amen.
You earned within $2,000 to $3,000 of your closest friends. I found that out. I got all the broke people out of our house, and y'all gotta go. Why? Because people rub off on you. Can I change them? No. It's a full-time job changing yourself.
Amen. For real.
And there's some people so negative they can walk into a dark room and begin to develop. The millennials, they don't know anything about that. They don't know why y'all laughing. They have no idea. Whatever. So anyhow, So you want to have a program for yourself, and you want to practice. Write this down. OQP, only quality people. Only quality people. That's what you want to focus on. And what will happen is it will enhance your life. I was with a friend of mine, Peter Anthony, and we were just together like 6 days, and I earned an additional $325,000 during that time. Iron sharpening iron. One idea can change your life. Now, write this down. Make it important to create wealth. Make it important to create wealth. People say money can't make you happy. Those who said that, they don't have any. Trust me, you want to create wealth. Why? Because one sickness can wipe out a fortune. 95% of the people who filed bankruptcy last year did so because of medical expenses. My son, it was required that he had 3 health care practitioners. That was $3,000 a week, not covered by insurance. Somebody you love, something happens to them, you want to do more than just pray for them. I never forget when I took my mother to the hospital, and they said that Leslie, are you sitting down? No, what's wrong with Mama? Mama has breast cancer. And I said, I'll be right there. And I just got reelected to the Ohio legislature. They said, no, you don't have to come. We got this. They got some nice nursing homes here in Dade County. I said, no, you hear me? Don't move her. You hear me, Mama? And no. Why, what's up? I'm resigning. I'll resign today. But you just got reelected. I don't care. I promised Mama I would take care of her. How many of you love someone that if something happened to them, you want to be there for them? Raise your hand.
Amen.
See, I just had a problem. How can one woman raise 7 children that couldn't take care of themselves, but 7 grown people couldn't take care of one woman? And I resigned the next day. When I rung the doorbell, flew to Miami, her friend Mildred was there and said, Mamie, Leslie's here. And I heard Mama say, I knew he would come. I knew he would come. How many of you want someone you love to know that you'll show up if they ever need you? Raise your hands. Okay? And so that's why I ask you, what's your why? Because things are going to happen that you can't anticipate. And so I had to figure out, what am I going to do next? And so this is Mama, this is my wife, this is what drives me. Because when you have goals and dreams, write this down, you will fail your way to success. And all the motivational books I've read, they never talk about the tough times. They never talk about how life is going to kick your butt. They never talk about, think it not strange that you face the fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might, you will have tribulations. Stuff's going to happen. And some of you are going through some stuff now. Listen to me, I've been there. Don't give up. Lean into it and say to yourself, this too shall pass. My best friend died waiting on a liver transplant. Mama was diagnosed with breast cancer. I went through a divorce from someone that I loved very much. And then I was diagnosed with cancer. And it took everything in me to say, this has not come to stay. It has come to pass. Amen. Robert Schull was right. Tough times never last, but tough people do. I'm saying to you that you're stronger than you give yourself credit for. I'm saying to you that don't underestimate yourself. Don't surrender. I'm saying to you, keep coming back again and again and again and again. Even a broke clock is right twice a day. Come on, somebody. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you. I was calling on Jesus, Yahweh, Allah, Melchizedek. I used to pray in the bed. I got down on my knees. Let me tell you, I was chanting ain't nobody your whole ring ain't killed. I call on everybody. I read the Bible, the Quran, the Kabbalah. I was trying to cut a deal, you know. Lord, if you help me through this, I'm going to increase my tithes by 35%. Anybody here ever try to cut a deal? Come on, you know what I'm talking about. Show me a sign. Show me a sign that you're real. I used to walk around my office. I said, let me know you're real. Went through a lot of stuff. And here's what I know. In life, listen to me, you'll be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges. If you're going through some stuff now, I want you to see yourself on the other side of it and say, I give thanks I got through that. You got to have the faith to call forth those things that be not as though they were. I give thanks I got through it. When you affirm that, things happen for you. Doors open you cannot begin to imagine. I was on the verge of them setting my stuff out at the Penobscot building. And I caught Southwest Airlines going to Chicago from Detroit. And at that time, I wanted to be on the Robert Schuller show because I saw Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. And I said, boy, if I can get on that kind of platform, I can create a demand for myself. I was going around, anybody that got within 3 feet of me, I'm gonna be on the Robert Schuller show. Is that right, Lynn? I'm not sure. Do you know Robert Schuller? No, I don't. Do you know anybody who knows Robert Schuller? No, I don't. If you do, here's my card. Let him know. I want to be on that show, all right? So, about 8 people on the plane. I sat by a guy named Lafayette Jones. February 17th, both of our birthdays. Lafayette, how you doing? Great. My name is Les Brown, man, and I'm so glad to meet you. I'm going to be on the Robert Schuller show. He said, you are? I said, yes. He said, when? I said, I'm not sure. Do you know Robert Schuller? He said, no, but the guy that I work for, Mr. Johnson, he knows Robert Schuller. Yes, what do you do? I said, I'm a motivational speaker. He said, you gotta be kidding. I said, no. Repeat after me, please. Coincidence.
Coincidence.
It's God's way.
It's God's way.
Staying anonymous.
Staying anonymous.
He said, you know what, man? He said, we have a sales meeting and the speaker we booked canceled. Are you good? I said, yes. He said, how much do you charge? At that point, I didn't know. I was just starting out. I said, how much have you allocated? He said, $5,000. I didn't speak right away because I'd have spoken unknown tongues. Chevrolet, Honda, Toyota, Buick, anyhow. I said, that'd be good for starters. Whatever. and he brought me there. I spoke. I got a standing ovation. Mr. Johnson ran to the podium. He said, young man, you are good. He said, if I can ever do anything to help you out, please let me know. I said, do you know Dr. Robert Schuller? He said, yes. I gave $1 million to his ministry. I said, I want to be on this program. He said, no problem. The next day, I'm in Riverfront Apartments in Detroit. Oh, this is Robert Schuller. May I speak to Les Brown? I said, no, it's not. Yes, it is. I said, wait a minute, I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. I said, but it's number one. It's number one. I get excited. But I was on this program. I was relentless. I must have talked to over 300 people who said they didn't know. The key is, and Og Mandino said this. Repeat after me, please. I will persist. Until I succeed.
Until I succeed.
Quitting is not in my DNA.
Quitting is not in my DNA.
Everybody say this with me with conviction. This is my winning season.
This is my winning season.
Say it like you meant it. This is my winning season.
This is my winning season.
Yeah, so you want to have that kind of attitude. This is my winning season.
This is my winning season.
You will attract things to you. How many of you ever thought about somebody you wanted to call, you looked at your phone, and they were calling you at the same time? Raise your hand. See, the reason I told you to watch those videos, not to watch me, but to focus your thinking. Our thoughts have magnetic power. And there's so much noise out here. Most people never achieve their goals because they become victims of weapons of mass distraction. And so I encourage you to read 30 to 40 pages of something positive every day. They did a study of some top achievers and entrepreneurs from around the world. They wanted to find out what was the common denominator among them that enabled them to reach their goals. Here's what they discovered. 85% of them reached their goals because of their attitude. 15% because of their aptitude. And so as your mindset, because it will begin to expand your level of awareness in the things that you see that will literally amaze you. And so as you look at your goals and dreams, let us say together, it's possible.
It's possible.
It's necessary.
It's necessary.
Yeah, see, if you're casual about your dream, you will end up to be a casualty. You've got to decide it's necessary.
It's necessary.
It's a non-negotiable. Let us say together, it's me.
It's me.
I tell you, when I think about, I went home to take care of Mama, and I took her to Jackson Memorial Hospital. And the lady, without asking her, what is your name? Is there anything that I can do for you? She just asked, what kind of insurance do you have? And I was so proud to say, she has Les Brown Unlimited.
Amen. Amen.
The reason you're in this room, you've decided in your heart of hearts that you are going to control your own personal economy. The reason that you're in this room is because you realize in your heart of hearts that you were not born to work for a living, but to live your making, and living your making will make your living. The reason that you're in this room is because you got a dream, just like me. You're sitting in my dream. And I'm standing in your dream, and I'm confirming that which you know in your heart of hearts. And don't listen to your mind. See, my mind said, Les Brown, you can't do what Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins, those guys do. You don't have a college education. How can you develop a level of credibility? You don't have full-color brochures. You don't have staff. You don't have the money. If there's an argument between your mind and your heart, follow your heart. You hear me?
Amen.
Follow your heart. It's you. You got to take responsibility for your life. Let us say together, it's hard.
It's hard.
Say it like you know it. It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard when you have a dream and people around you don't see it. That brother's with me. Absolutely. It's hard. It's hard. I said, Mike, my mentor, I can't compete, man, with people with MBAs and PhDs and years of corporate experience I don't have. I can't compete with them, Mike. Phone went dead. I called back. His name, we lost the signal. He says, no. I said, what happened? He said, I hung up on you. I said, why would you do that? He said, Brownie, if you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. He said, if you do what is easy, give yourself a pass, quit, point out all your shortcomings. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. And see, at the end of the day, that you don't get in life what you want. You get in life what you are. As you look at a goal and dream that's beyond your comfort zone, ask yourself the question, what is it I need to do to develop myself? What radical change must I make What new relationships do I need to develop? And when you commit yourself that I'm going to make this happen in spite of the fact that I don't have the money, in spite of the fact that I don't know anybody in the industry, in spite of the fact that I don't have all the resources other people have. Guy said, it's not what you don't have, it's what you think you need that keeps you from becoming successful. And at the end of the day, it was not about not having the money and not having the contacts or the resources. It was about me accepting and saying, I've got to speak. How many of you like to help people? Raise your hands, please.
I do.
Thank you. I'm who I am. Because somebody believed in me at a time that I didn't believe in myself. I never forget Mr. Washington. I was in his class looking for MacArthur Stevens. He said, young man, go to the board and work this problem out for me. I said, well, sir, I can't do that. Why not? I'm not one of your students. I'm just here to see MacArthur Stevens. Do what I'm asking you to do. I said, I can't, sir. And the other students started laughing, saying, he's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. Wesley's smart. He's DT. What's DT? He's the dumb twin. And they erupted in laughter. And I said, I am, sir. And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. And Andrea, he said, don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality.
Amen.
And that was a turning point in my life. On one hand, I was humiliated, but on the other hand, I was liberated. Because he looked at me with the eyes of Goethe, who said, look at a man the way that he is, he only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be. When I was in the 5th grade, I was labeled educable mentally retarded and put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade. And I failed again when I was in the 8th grade. And this man, I never forget, when he spoke, he interrupted my vision of myself. How you live your life is a result of the story you believe about yourself. That's why we're encouraged, be ye not conformed to this world, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And I accepted what they said about me. Mama said, Leslie, sticks and stones can break your bones. Words can never hurt you. How many know words can hurt you deeply? They can hurt deeply. And so people say, just get over it. I woke up in the middle of the night. This movie was on, Magnolia. I haven't seen the movie, but there was a line in there that I'll never forget, starring Tom Cruise. The line was, you might be through with your past,